Fridays.
It is Friday.
It is.
Yes, yes,
And it's,
yes.
and it's fresh here in Melbourne, may I say. It's supposed to be summer and we have very fresh days.
You
Cool.
know, you
Very
know what
cool.
I would want to do. This is me.
Mm.
Have a summer house here, and then for winter here, we'll go to Melbourne. We'll live. Yes.
Yes, shoot over to Melbourne. Yeah, why not? But probably better than Melbourne is probably Queensland because the weather's more consistent, it's sunnier, and
Oh,
Melbourne's a little temperamental. They say
okay.
like the
Yeah.
people.
This Tennessee has no. It's temperamental.
The
So
temperamental.
no. We just had 10 inches of snow, and we can't get to no.
In Tennessee, snow.
Yes,
Now
in the
that's unheard
south.
of?
Yes, unheard of. They said it's been 30 years since it's been like this. The
Wow.
last time. The last time 30 years ago. Yeah.
But I
So,
feel
yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna add that everybody's complaining about the cold at the moment on that end.
Yeah.
Canada, America, like it's
Yeah.
very, very cold, right?
Yeah. I think we get it every 5 years or something like that.
That
Yeah.
snap freeze. But
Mhm.
anyway, let's pretend you're in
Yes.
Australia. How about that? Where it's just fresh. Sunny. That's amazing. All right. Let's get started.
Yes, yes, yes. So, what do you think about the topic?
Oh, I love this topic. This is right down my alley, isn't it?
Yes, 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 yes.
Good choice.
It's almost like a continuation of last week, because we need that to kind of uh, talk about relationships and telling the truth. So we're gonna have fun with this one.
We
So
are. So,
yeah. So relationship, what is it? If we're to define relationship, you know, I can look up the dictionary definition of relationship, but boring. So, what's your definition of relationship?
well, don't ask me. I would never
Oh,
clue.
you would. I mean, come on. You've had relationships before.
No, I'm just joking. I just thought I'd throw that in because yeah, relationships are interesting. We're all having
Hmm.
relationships with ourselves to start off with.
Hmm.
And that first relationship, is it right? Is it wrong? And I was having this really deep conversation yesterday with someone. It tapped on relationships, but one specific area, which I think I may bring it up as a topic in the future. I'm not going to talk about it, what it was
Hmm.
specifically,
Hmm.
so I don't want to go sidetracking. However, it was all about relationships and how we view things and what is a relationship to us may be different to what is a relationship to somebody else.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
We all have our own values, our own, you know, idea, vision of what a relationship looks like or should be like,
Hmm.
should feel like for some that are more, into the feeling.
Hmm.
And we're all different. We're all different. But we could go through all the boring, it's communication, it's honesty, it's respect, it's being open with one another, it's telling the truth, it's
Hmm.
being compassionate, having empathy, having all those sort of things to make a relationship work. Now, sometimes or many times we can still have all those things, but relationships still aren't working.
Hmm.
Why do they seem to be so difficult?
Why?
Why? And that is a big, big question. And the more I go into relationships, the more I talk to people, the more I even go over my own relationships and my own relationship with myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I really think it boils down to our own relationship with ourselves
Mm-hmm.
and having acceptance that everybody else is on their own journey, and what
Right.
they feel is a relationship to them
Right.
is their own personal view. And I think we should all respect that from one another. Now, if you are navigating and you are connecting with, vibing with someone that has the same vision,
Mm-hmm.
of course, you're not going to find someone that's going to tick all the boxes. It'd be
Right.
boring. It's just impossible.
Mm-hmm.
And I do believe also we attract people into our lives to also mirror back to us what it is we need to learn about ourselves. So when we are
Mm-hmm.
finding something at fault with someone else, we're pointing the
Mm-hmm.
finger. You heard that at one person, but you're actually pointing three back at yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I heard that before.
you've heard that before. And I really do use that. Well, why is that upsetting me so much? And I look at myself and I do break it down. And often I do get the answers. I do, surprisingly. You're
No,
laughing.
I'm talking. I'm still on the the saying you point one finger. That's why in the military we don't point. We do this because we mean
Mm.
it for you.
Uh-huh. There you go. I didn't know that. Is that a military thing? So when we're speaking, we should be whole hand.
Yes.
So you're pointing all fingers at that
Oh,
person. All fingers. Steam ahead. Aim
right,
fire. Boom, boom, boom,
right.
boom.
I'm right. You're wrong. You need to do what I want. I want you to do. Yeah. So
Uh-huh.
that I know.
Uh-huh. Right, right. So what is a relationship? Why does it seem to be so difficult?
Hmm. Yeah.
Uh, I also believe if we focus on all the difficulties,
Hmm.
we're
Yeah.
also expanding that area of difficulty. If we
Right.
are concentrating on the fact that it is really difficult, or it seems to be difficult to navigate, to find the right person, to attract the right partner,
Hmm.
or to even have a relationship. Some people have, actually, I was talking to someone else yesterday, and he was from the States, from Florida, and he was just expressing how, getting married is just, 3, 4, 5 times, 6 is normal
Wow.
in the States or in Florida. Well, he's from Florida. So I don't know if that's a different state to the rest of
California. It's. I think it's more common in California than
California.
it is in Florida. But
Right.
anyway.
So,
Yeah.
w what is marriage? What is a relationship mean in a marriage context?
Right.
So we're all journeying, we're all traveling, and we all have our own ideas. And I believe we just need to be respectful of everyone else, but very mindful of what it is that we desire,
Right.
very mindful of what we desire in a relationship. And therefore, when we focus on that rather than the difficulty of finding that relationship, then the outcome of reaching that, you have a lot higher chance of getting close
Hmm.
to your goal than when you're just focused and stuck on everybody's out to get me. Every woman's a bitch. Every man is a blub, blub, blub.
Play, player.
Blank, blank. You know?
Right.
Uh, yeah, that's my theory on relationships.
Hmm. I'll give you a consolidated version
Please do.
as to what I think about relationship. What is relationship? Relationship is two individuals trying to get along. That's it.
Period. Exactly. I just gave you a long version.
Right.
Just because I like to talk. I like to just
I
drag.
like to go straight to the point. I'm direct
Mm.
and
That's why we
Straight
get
to the
along.
point. Yeah.
We're opposite.
Yeah. Well, and since you said that, and we're gonna segue to that, um, when they say opposites attract,
Mm.
which they do, magnet, they attract, male, female, they attract, the polars, the magnetic, yeah, they do, yeah. But is it true for relationships? You know, is it true that you have to be so different from me in order for me to get along with you? Because if I ever, here's me being direct,
Mm-hmm.
if I ever get into a relationship, or, okay, so when I was single, when I would date, my friend turned me on this, which was a disaster. Um, the online dating thing.
Mm-hmm. Online dating apps.
Yeah. And so I would go on dates, right? And I would sit there and listen to this idiot talk. And he would just go on and on and on. And I'm like, okay, Zanetta, opposites attract. Just give him time. No, the more he opened his mouth, the more idiot he became.
Oh.
And I was like, ain't no way. No, I'm sorry. I can't do this. I would love to see you again. No. Yeah. No. No. So does opposite attract really mean, for relationship? Is it that secret sauce to make the relationship work?
Now let's break down opposite.
Mm,
What's opposite?
yeah. What is it? The George Habib podcast. Hello.
Hi, George. How are you? Yes,
Welcome.
George
Welcome.
interviewed me this week, by the way. There's a podcast coming.
Awesome.
Subscribe to his podcast on his YouTube channel. George, put your
Good.
YouTube link down there. Let's share
Uh,
it around.
no, I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So go ahead and talk. Go ahead. So you said opposite.
Yeah. So what's opposite mean?
Mm-hmm.
What does opposite mean? What's
Mm.
a definition of opposite? Alive and cold. He's in from Canada.
Oh gosh. Yeah, but what I'm saying is that
We're talking just opposite physically. We're talking opposite,
yeah,
opposite in what?
subscribe.
Subscribed? You've already subscribed? Yay!
Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
No, what I'm saying is that is it, we always have this saying, relationship, well, opposites attract. What do you mean by that? I want you to break it down to me. What do you mean by that? Do you mean if I'm 5'4", does that mean I need to marry somebody who's 6'7"? What do you mean when you say opposites attract? I think we have been told a lie for so long that we believe it,
Mhm.
and that's why relationship is hard. Well, he's not the one. I'm not into that. People, I'm not into that. I'm not into that. Good evening, Miss Nina.
Hi,
Yeah.
Nina.
So I'm not attracted to that. I'm not. That's not my opposite. That's not my. I think we've been sold a lie for so long. We've been groomed, as we were talking last week. We've been groomed for so long that I think you said it so many podcasts ago, so many shows ago, where you said we spent X amount of years being taught one way and the rest of our lives undoing what we were taught. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what's happening in this world
Yeah.
from a
So
very early age.
I believe, oh, thank you. I believe, um, I believe this. This is what I believe. I believe that opposites don't attract. I believe like goes with like. I believe that because what people lack, that's what they attract. You're a giving person, a person who is needy.
Why are you laughing? Are you looking at
Well,
me? Do you think I'm needy?
no, I said you're giving. You're giving.
Yeah,
You're a giving person. You're very, we call it galante. You're very galante.
I'm very
Um,
galante. Okay.
yes. So you're so giving with everything.
Mm.
And when you when you attract a person, they're the needy person
Right.
because they need what you're giving because they lack the love. Someone who is stingy of love. What do we look in a relationship? What do we look for in a relationship? Right. Yeah. So here, um, the opposites attract is just something people say. My husband say that often about us, and it makes me hate the saying. Being opposite isn't always good. Hmm. Hmm. Oh my.
So that's one opinion.
Yeah.
Tell us more, audience.
Yes.
People that are
Yes. Give
watching
us
this,
more.
if you're
What
watching
do
this on
you
the
think?
replay, let us know. Hashtag replay and let us know what you think. There's no right or wrong. Let's
Mm,
explain this, Zanetta, please.
yeah.
This
Yeah.
is Zanetta's opinion, everybody.
Yeah. That's
Zanetta's
why I
opinion.
said I believe. I didn't
Right,
say this is,
right, right,
I
right.
believe. This is what I
Mhm,
believe.
mhm.
I believe that if we understand what we're giving, if I'm a very giving person, like you everybody wants to, you want to get along with everybody. And so you attract people who can't get along with everybody because they need to learn from you and you need to learn from them.
And that's what I'm talking about when I said we mirror to each other exactly what it is we need to learn from that other person. So when we're
Yeah.
attracting that very lesson, we need to learn when we are attracting that person, whether
Yeah.
it's opposite or whether it's alike, it boils down to the lesson that we are learning with that particular person.
Yeah, but it doesn't necessarily mean you need to go have a date with them or
No,
have a
relate
romantic
no.
relationship with them.
However, sometimes the universe will present certain things in front of us because we need that time to learn that lesson. And that time may be in a relationship of 6 months, 3 months, 10 years, 20 years,
25 years.
25 years for some, and more and more. So, therefore, we don't know. The quicker you learn your lesson, the less time you're doing. It's like doing time in Pentridge, right? Same thing. I think it's the same thing.
Prison number 13457. Yes.
What what's George saying? Let's hear what George is saying. Let's hear his input. Read that along, Zanetta.
Opposites attract passionately, I guess, but it'd be a disaster to build a relationship on that. I prefer to be with someone where we complement each other. Yes.
Mm,
Yes.
mm.
Here's another one from Nina.
He's saying some words here, isn't he? Sorry, I
Yes. Oh, yeah, yeah. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, go ahead. Nina says.
Yeah. Nina says, I believe you need people whose strengthens the area you are weak in, but not necessarily opposites. You can bump heads with opposites too often. That is so true. That is so true. But But here, what did George say again?
We complement each
Passionately.
other,
Hmm.
and we complement each other.
Opposite. I love that complement each other, but opposites attract passionately. There's some, you know, there's something behind that. It's like the good goody two shoe girl that loves the bad boy. Yeah, yeah. But it'd be a disaster to build a relationship on that. Um, yeah, that's something to be. Yeah, that's something. Yes, definitely. Yes. So I think that's something to really, you know, think about. For the singles,
Hmm.
or for the ones that divorced, or for the ones that finally got their parole after 25 years in prison.
Yeah. And do you think how many of them go out on parole and do it all again and end up in prison again?
See that? Then you didn't learn.
Correct.
Yeah, I
Correct.
learned. I was like, never,
Mm.
no.
Because you were, aware, or you lit up, or something drove you to that, okay, how do I have to do this different this time round?
Right, right.
I'm I'm not prepared to go down that road again. So obviously what I've been doing hasn't been working. So I have to pivot. I have to change. What is it I have to change? And you started exploring, right? It just starts with curiosity, it started with pain, then like anger, you got all, and then curiosity, um, desperation at some point,
Mm-hmm.
of
Yeah,
trying to make it happen for you.
yeah.
But going back to opposites attract,
Mm-hmm.
and opposites attract, and then opposites, people that are the same, like attracts like. And that seems all wonderful too. But there are cases where, particularly after the honeymoon period, that like that attracts like becomes like two very strong magnetic forces
Mm.
that repel each other, because they're both so alike and so much wanting the same thing, that if the bridge of communication, connection is not a solid foundation, it's going to fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing goes for those that are really alike, and they're just so smooth going, so cool, everything's wonderful, everything. It's so wonderful that it's actually even boring.
That's why I rolled my eyes. I'm like,
Correct. It's boring. And how does that? People repel. They'll go off
mm-hmm.
and find someone else to give them a little bit of
Oomph.
spice.
Spice. A little bit of oomph.
Mm,
A little bit of ooh la la.
voila. And not necessarily ooh la la la. It could also
Mm-hmm.
mean what I call, and this is my new logo, you know, getting your intellectual G spot stimulated. You know,
Yes.
it's not the G spot we're talking about, it's the intellectual G spot.
Right, right. Yes.
So that like can also repel and be disastrous
Yeah.
in your life.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever
Mm.
um have you ever heard the saying, I had a conversation with the therapist. She's a friend, and she said, we were talking about relationships, and we were talking about how we are prepared as girls and boys growing up, what relationship we should get into, what type of woman, what type of man. And have you I don't know over there, but here in the US, they always say you need to find your, just like your dad. Just you know my story.
Now that's a lie. That's a lie.
I'm like,
Misleading.
you know what? You're right, because I did wind up marrying. Anyway, I digress. We're live. I can't cut that out. Anyway, but no, we're taught that, because supposedly, uh, you know, uh, the girl's first love is their dad, and the boy's first love is their mother, supposedly. And so they're going off into this world, looking, not necessarily knowing it, cognitively, but they want, I want, your dad. I want mom and dad's relationship. I want dad, and the way dad, sweeps mom's off her feet, and I like the way mom, just all of this is what's going on in our head, not knowing what's going on behind the scenes with mom and dad, not knowing, dad's been doing this and mom has been doing this, and so you're having that fantasy, or that, you're looking for the mom, the dad. Can I just put my twist on that?
Please.
That's just sick. I'm sorry. That's that's demented. Why you?
Yes, but also you're coming from a place, Zanetta, where you have had an experience with your father,
Yeah.
right? And
Hmm.
and and I get that. However, having said that, can I just put my little story
Yes,
in?
of course. Yeah.
And it's just unfortunate that you did have that experience with your
Yeah.
father and also with your mother, because your mother knew somewhat,
Hmm.
and she also, you know, allowed certain things to happen or didn't intervene or whatever it was. We're not going to go down that road. However, that was your experience. That was your learnings. You learnt a lot.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, you were young, and then yet
Hmm.
you went and found that man that you thought he was perfect. However, he did have those traits of your father,
Hmm.
correct?
Hmm. Hmm.
Unbeknown to you. Unbeknown to you,
Right.
because that was all stored in your subconscious mind.
Right.
And that was what was familiar to you. And
Hmm.
familiarity is comfortable.
Yeah.
And when it feels comfortable, we don't question it. It just feels
Yeah.
comfortable,
Yeah.
right? Until
Right.
we're too deep into it, that or we start waking up, and that's when the light goes on, or it's time for you to learn your lessons, Anetta. Now this is, here we go. Strap on. Get those, safety belts on, because we're gonna go for a ride.
Hmm.
And that's what
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happens. That's your journey. Now, look at me, for example, right? I look at my parents. My dad was strong, Italian, Sicilian man. Mama,
Handsome, might I add.
handsome, handsome,
Oh
gorgeous.
my gosh. Yes.
But not only handsome, he had charisma, he had
Hmm.
sensitivity. I loved my dad. I was in love with my dad, literally.
Hmm. Hmm.
He wasn't perfect by all means, we all got our,
Right.
and with mum, he role modeled to me how he treated my mum. To me,
Hmm.
that was like, wow. Yeah. And do I look for someone like my dad? I look for qualities of what my dad has. There were some qualities that, you know, I didn't like, I'll be honest.
Hmm.
And what were they? Things like, he was very very Sicilian, he's the head of the family. And what he said went.
Oh, it was law.
Yeah, and um, that sometimes was like, whoa, traumatic.
Hmm.
And I had to define, I had to really, you know, know that that part was what I didn't want in a man. I don't want
Hmm.
a strong leader. I want a man that is, confident but also a man that's open to conversation about something that I may not agree with.
Right.
My father was
Hmm.
not that. When he got into his little funk,
That
and with
was
all
it.
respect, it was like the Godfather has spoken.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah.
He wasn't mean. He didn't hurt my mom, didn't bash us, didn't do anything, all that. He was a family man, didn't cheat on her. But it was these sort of things. And you know what? Yeah, I attracted men like that in my life, unbeknown to me, because they had all the characteristics of what my father has. But when it came to that, oh boy, did they have that as well.
Hmm. Yeah.
Now, it's not
Yeah.
like I want to be, the lead. No, but let's have a let me understand, and
Right.
there was no open to discussion. That's
Right.
the way it was.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so, we have it all in different ways.
Hmm.
We get that trauma because that's what it is. It's trauma. Now, is my
Yeah.
trauma bigger than yours? No.
No, trauma is trauma.
Trauma. We can't even compare. I
No.
haven't experienced what you experienced. So there's no way that I could even fathom to say I know what it feels like. I could try to understand.
Well, you can, because trauma is trauma. It's just a different form. It's just packaged differently, but it's still pain. Pain is pain.
Hmm.
When you know pain, you can understand. Do you understand the method it came? No, but you do understand the pain.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. There's, um, so here's where I think we have to really focus on the most important relationship.
Drum roll. Yourself. Absolutely. That's what I
Yeah,
said earlier. Your self relationship is so, so important. It's a
yeah,
foundation, really.
it is. It is because if um, so, when you're in a relationship and um, you're trying to impress the significant other, and you're cooking, and you ask, "So how is it?"
How is it?
How does it taste?
Oh.
That's, some of them are idiots when they say, "Well, it doesn't taste like my mom." Well, then go back home to your mom.
Yeah, that's true. That's
You
true.
know? But when you ask and say, "How does it taste?" It's okay. You know, and you're like, "What do you mean it's okay?" And you get offended. Sometimes some will say, "Well, then you cook. I'm not gonna cook anymore." You know, take it to the extreme instead of, "Oh, okay. So what didn't you like about it?" It's like going to a restaurant. I didn't like that, so let me go somewhere else. I didn't like that taste, so let me go somewhere else. Same thing, same concept. So, you'd have to have a good relationship with yourself in order to receive that feedback. So, I made some chicken wings, homemade chicken, garlic parmesan chicken wings. And I asked Jeff, how did you like it? How was it?
And the response.
And he was like, it's okay. I was like, oh, what was wrong with it? And so he said, well, it tastes more like bake. I said, no, I don't care about how the chicken was made. I said, I did it in the air fryer, which tastes totally different from actually frying it, or baking it. So I know what he meant by that. I said, no, the mixture, the sauce, how was that? He was like,
But he ate it? Did he eat it all?
yes, he did. But he
Okay.
was like, eh, if I were to choose, I'd rather have the buffalo wings. I was like, oh, okay. I'll know next time. And that was it. It wasn't like I slaved over this and, I made it homemade. I made it homemade. I didn't buy a chicken that was already pre seasoned. I didn't buy it, have it delivered. No, I slaved over it. But guess what? But because I have a good relationship with myself, it is by no means reflect my ability to cook. He just have a different taste. He would rather have buffalo wings rather than garlic parmesan. I'll eat the garlic parmesan.
However,
So there.
you communicated to him. He
Yes.
communicated to you what he didn't like, what he preferred. You got the message, you weren't offended, you took it literally for what it was because
Yeah.
that was all feedback for you, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, there's no need to carry on. Now,
No.
say for example, you did react.
Hmm.
I spent 2 hours preparing, buying, getting it all together and, slaving over that kitchen to prepare this chicken wings parmigiano, and that's all you can say? Well, you can cook yourself,
Right.
right?
Get up off your and cook yourself.
So, what's actually happening there? Are you upset with his reaction?
The expectation.
Not being met?
Right.
So that's what needs to be examined,
Expectations.
right? What is it in me that's triggered? Because I'm
Hmm.
asking him, he's telling me the truth,
Right.
his truth.
Hmm.
And he's trying to be as nice as possible.
Right.
You can imagine Jeff.
Yeah.
Sometimes he could even be fooling around and playing with you too, but he
Oh
wasn't
no.
around with you. He was
No,
being
no,
truthful.
yeah,
So
he doesn't play around with food.
so when you are communicating like that, it's like, okay, rather than being reactive with the person with the response that you've been given, this is the time to just stop and hold back and ask yourself the question within yourself. What is it in me that's created this upset?
Hostility.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
turbulent
Mhm.
explosion, eruption
Right.
that's about to explode.
Right.
Because if we trace back and we take the time to do the work on ourselves, and we
Mhm.
can't do it with ourselves on our own, that's when we, bring in a therapist, a
Right.
coach, someone that's going to direct you and guide you and hold your hand through it. Because if you go back, you'll probably find that you've had many of these rejections or these feelings or these expectations that weren't met that started
Mhm.
way back when you were 5,
Right.
4,
Right.
I
Yeah.
don't know, way back.
Yeah.
And that is what's erupting when that happens. That 5-year-old child that is unable to deal with that
Mm-hmm.
expectation that's not been met with that
Right.
feeling of rejection.
Right. Right. Yeah. Because here's what happens when you're young, and I think this is a fault of every parent, because every parent tries to be better than their parent. Oh, I won't do that, and then they don't know it's a detriment to the child. you know, oh, I we never had anything, so I'm going to give everything to my child. That's a detriment to the child. So, you know, every parent, every generation, it seems like it's getting kind of like worse and worse and worse. Maybe, I don't know. But how do you feel about what we expect from people, especially in relationships? If you don't have any expectation, does it negatively impact the relationship? Good question.
Very good question.
There's um there's some certain expectations. There's foundation. There's a foundation of expectation. One of them is respect.
Mhm.
I expect respect.
Mhm.
As a matter of fact, I don't expect it. I demand it.
Mhm.
I demand respect. You're not just gonna, treat me any old kind of way. Mm-mm. Nope, not
Mhm.
at all. So there's expectations of that is foundation. But if there's expectations, like, I'll talk about my previous relationship. I was expected to cook, clean, do laundry, take care of the kids, help them with the homework, and expect to give it when asked every day. This is an expectation. And if I didn't do, oh, all chaos would break loose. I mean, just, and when I wanted to have a job, when I wanted to, um, uh, work, you'd have to do your job, still cook, still clean, still do laundry, still take care of the kids, still help them with their homework, and give it up when I ask. This, I'm tired.
Doesn't exist.
No, because you're the wife and I'm the husband, and what I say goes. Period. So that kind of expectation? Oh no. That's not a that's prison.
So you've
Yeah.
got to clarify what we're talking about expectations here, Nina. You
Hmm.
know,
Yeah.
the expectation I was talking about, particularly with that case with the meal that Zanetta cooked, that was her expectation of, wanting approval, or say, for
Yeah.
hypothetically speaking, because it was just a scenario, but we want approval, we want attention, we want appreciation, we may want all these things that I'm not saying that that other partner can't give, but out of that whole scenario, how it happened, we are triggered because that's
Hmm.
what's lacking in our life. That's what we felt so much pain back in, you know as a 5-year-old child.
Yeah, because we were told, "Oh, you're so good. You're so good. Everything you do is beautiful, wonderful." And you wanted to cook eggs. Oh, you were a chef. You are and so you're hearing all of this, and you're growing up, and people are, some of them are lying to you. Yeah. Oh. So what I'm thinking of is a romantic relationship. If you stop having expectations from your spouse, can the marriage relationship survive? So I think what Stefania is saying, what are the expectations?
Yeah,
You need
define.
to define
Okay,
what.
let's get clear on one expectation, right? Let's go straight to the jugular, right? Sex. Let's talk about sex.
Let's talk about sex,
Sex, baby.
baby.
Let's talk about you. Mhm. Okay. Enough singing. That's why I'm not a singer, because I can't sing. Let's talk about sex. We have one partner that has a very high sexual appetite. Maybe a male, maybe the female in the relationship. It's not always the male, right? Because
Right,
men seem to think it's
right.
always the men that have high sex drives. Might be even the female. There's that is something, that is an expectation. We know, why is it we hardly have to do it Wednesday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday? Why can't we do it every day? And why do we have to do it in bed? Why can't we do it some places? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's an expectation. So we need to get
Mhm.
clear with what the expectation is. If you stop expecting what sex, I can't read that in small. If you
Stop.
stop expecting sex, help communication compromise the things
That's needed.
that's needed.
Yeah. So if you stop the sex, expecting the sex or the help and the communication and the compromise, I think that's what she's trying to say.
Right.
Um, the things that's needed. I hope I got that correctly. If not, you can correct me if I'm wrong. So yeah. So if you stop expecting sex, um, a lot of people say, sex is very important in a relationship. No, no. The help. I don't know what you mean by help. Communication. Woo, that's one. That's one of the foundation of expectation. You have to communicate because the most important thing in a relationship is communication. It is. It's compromise. Compromise. Um, would that be one of the top expectations? Or foundation? Would that be a foundation for expectation? Compromise? I think so. I think compromise is one of the foundations of expectation. So respect, or should I say communication, respect, compromise are, one of the top tier of expectation. Help, depending on what you mean. Depending on what you mean by help. Now, um, hmm, I want to say some stuff.
Go right ahead.
Um,
What's stopping
so,
you, Zanetta? You never Nothing ever
well,
stops you?
I know. I'm trying to be, a little bit more aware of my directness.
Oh,
um,
it's the new you, Zanetta.
yeah, Zanetta 2.0. Oh,
Mhm.
now it's 3.0 because last year was 2.0.
So,
3.0.
3.0.
Um, so help when things are placed on you without regard, and it's supposed to be a relationship, it's supposed to be a romantic relationship, then you're in a wrong relationship. I'm sorry.
Repeat that again, Zanetta. When?
When you are given all of the, if you're expected to do so many things and and you're overwhelmed by it, or it's too much for one person, and that person is not helping you or tacking onto it, and you no, sorry, sorry, not sorry, bye. That's me. That's me. how can you be in a relationship, and here's how can you be in a romantic relationship or in a marriage that you see your spouse struggling and you don't help? What do you say to that, Stefania?
Well, what kind of relationship is it first? You got to identify what
Well,
relationship
marriage, like
it
what
is.
I said, in a marriage, if you're in a marriage
Right. So
and you see your
the-
spouse
the-
struggling.
yeah, and again, these are fundamental conversations I think that should happen before we step into marriage, before we step into any kind of relationship, even when you first meet someone. Like,
Mhm,
what are we here? What are we doing? Are we is this something long term, short term, just a sexual
mhm.
encounter that we can catch up? We really need to define what what are our expectations, because each and every one of them, everyone is allowed to have their own expect or their ideal vision of what that relationship would look like to them. But to step into a marriage or to step into a relationship expecting that person to behave a certain way when you haven't had when you haven't had this conversation around that, it's unfair.
It
Well, they
is.
should know. That's what a marriage is. Well, did you ever sit down and talk about what a marriage and identify what's your meaning of a marriage and what's your meaning of a marriage?
Hmm.
No, because why? Because we're all on our own journey. We're on we have our own expectation. We have our own vision of what is expected. However,
Right.
when we have that conversation really early, and I love it that people have pre-marriage counseling or pre-marriage something therapy.
Mhm.
And our dear friend, and I love them, and they're an amazing couple, and you know who I'm talking about, James and Wendy.
Yes.
And they're
Yeah.
very open about having this, you know, um,
Premarital. Yes.
premarital counseling therapy.
Hmm.
And, I helped James with also hypnosis and things. And I'm sure he won't mind me saying this, but he just recommends it to every couple that want to go down that
Hmm.
route of
Hmm.
being married or wanting to live together for the rest of their lives.
Right. Right.
Because it'll unravel exactly what it is that you both want. Because
And-
you might be really sexually connected, but it may not be what you both want long term. So the
mhm.
sex is great, and that might be keeping you together, but out of the sex, out of the bedroom, there's chaos all the time.
Right.
Now you can work on it. It depends how strong that foundation of, what do we call it? Love, connection, sexual connection. I don't know. We can call it all sorts of things, right?
Right. Right.
But both of you have to really want it and be open to change, be open to saying, okay, what this is not working. We need to be doing something different because I really want to spend the rest of my life with you.
Hmm.
If that's not the case, then we just have to accept that. And our expectation isn't met with that person. Okay, lesson learned. We look at the lessons. What's the feedback from all this that happened?
Hmm.
So I know I'm rambling a little bit. However, I feel that we need to identify what it is, what that expectation is for both of us.
Right.
And there's no right or wrong in expressing those expectations. If it doesn't
Yeah.
suit you, you can quite easily say, you know what, that's not my vision. That's not really what I had in mind.
Hmm.
And when you have two mature adults together, the other person say, okay, that's fine. I'm happy you told me. I'm happy that you've expressed this to me, rather
Hmm.
than leading people on and hoping and this is what a relationship is. Open, clear communication, understanding, and accepting that we're all different. I always say to
Hmm.
people, you look at your hand, right? Your hand belongs to you. It's an extension of your arm, and
Hmm.
then you have your fingers, right? All our fingers are different.
Mm-hmm.
They're different. They're different sizes, they're different thicknesses, they're different everything. They even move differently.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got to accept that. And that's same thing goes with people. We're all different.
Yeah.
Now, compromise, I call it more understanding. And yeah, you can pivot a little bit, but don't compromise to the point that it's detrimental to your own health, to your own being, because you're going to resent that person down the road.
Right. Right.
So compromise is a very delicate dance, I
Mm-hmm.
call it,
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
you can be compromising to keep the other person happy, to not rock the boat, to get what you want, blah, blah, blah. But in the long
Mm-hmm.
run, it's going to backfire on you.
Yeah.
But we have some comments here that you may want to
Yeah.
run through,
Yeah.
Vanetta.
So this one is from for me, communication and being willing to compromise is very important. When I personally can't do that, it puts me in a shut off mindset. Like if I can't talk to you and we listen to each other, what are we doing?
So is it
So,
compromise or is it communication we're talking about here?
so it says for me, communication and being willing to compromise is very important. So there's both of them. So you have two of them, willing to compromise and communication. When she personally can't do that, she shuts off her mind. She has a shut off mindset, which is not good as well. Like if I can't talk to you and we listen to each other, what are we doing? So we're just gonna get through this. Um,
We expect you to be direct.
Direct. Me, talk about me.
Okay.
Okay, so we have here juggler.
Ugla.
Yep. Huh?
Ugla is a pronunciation.
Oogla.
Hello,
Oogla.
Ugla.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thanks
Sorry.
for
I'm sorry.
chiming
I
in, Ugla.
apologize. Oogla. Okay. In my opinion, sex is 50% of relationship. Expectations are in everything we do. Oh, okay. I would like to know your sex life.
Ooh la la.
Sometimes you can have the conversation, and after marriage, things change. That's the sad thing. Can make someone feel manipulated. Okay, I'll double back to that one. The beauty is the differences. That differences must complete each other's soul. So true, Uglar. I'm going to go back to what Nina said. Sometimes you can have the conversations, and after marriage, here we go. Yeah, you can feel manipulated. And the reason probably why you're feeling manipulated is because we had these conversations and we talked about what is the expectation, and then as soon as that ring is put on, all of a sudden,
Things change.
did they really change?
Yeah. Or is that change just been amplified?
Or the mask was just taken off.
Mm. And we didn't look behind the mask.
Hmm. So
And
there's a lot of kind of looking into it, because let's face it, when we're dating, we're in this euphoria, la la land. The sex might be 75%.
it could be 100%. Excuse
It
me.
could, it could be 100%.
And that's what's keeping the glue there, right? That's the
Yes.
strong part of the glue.
Yes, drunken love. Yes, yes, sweetheart, whatever you say. We'll do this. Yes, absolutely. We will do that. Yes. And then when you put on the what? Wait a minute. What? No, yeah, we get this sense of um I don't know, fantasy, delusion. I don't know. Um, I I remember because of what I went through. 25 years of marriage, and when I had it in my mind, I am not gonna get married. I will have 50% sexual, and then fifty
How
percent
much?
just me.
50%? Did you say 50%?
Sexual, yeah, yeah, 50% sexual,
We're
and then
talking.
50% just me.
Uh-huh.
Whenever I feel the itch, you go scratch.
You get
And
your
then I go
stuff.
back and then I go back home.
Okay.
Um, but no, so I made up in my mind. I was like, yep, nope, nope, not gonna do it. Not gonna get married. Nope, not, not, no. And when I met Jeff, it was totally different. It was So I was going back and forth, back and forth. I was like, oh, but he's this. Oh, he ain't gonna fool me. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. Yeah. So yeah. So we had hard conversations. We had hard. I mean, hard. I'm not talking about your money is your money, my money is my money. No, we weren't talking about that. What we were talking about was what it was more so me than anything. The first sign of you manipulating me, controlling me, being all up in my business.
Is that how you spoke to him?
Oh yeah, that is exactly how I spoke to him. Yeah,
Mm.
you're done.
You cried. And that's what the challenge was even more like, yeah, I just gotta prove her
Yeah,
wrong.
the pursuit. Yeah. So when we went out to dinner, and mind you, he's this big wig making, commas in his bank account. You know, me, I'm this, little paycheck. And we went to dinner and I paid for it. He was like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm paying for our meal. I'm the one that said, let's go have, dinner. I'm paying for it. He was like, I said, don't you even belittle what I make. And he was like, thank you. That's right. That's your answer. You say thank you when somebody pays for something, when somebody gives you. I was brutal. I was brutal because I was told, in the previous marriage, you will always need me. You will never make it without me. You will need my money. So that was the trigger.
Mm.
I don't care if you have over 100,000, whatever. Who cares? I don't care. Yeah, I have my little $200, but I can afford what we can eat right now. Yeah. So don't belittle what I make. Yeah. So it was more of a be proud of where I am. And if you can, help me raise up. But if you can't, I can do it on my own. Yeah. So Jeff, you should interview Jeff one day and ask him the difficulties I put him through.
I am. I'm planning to. We just have to connect
Yeah.
the times.
Yeah.
I've already
I put
interviewed
him
him.
through.
And he's a
Yeah.
great person to interview.
Yeah, he is. He is. But yeah, I put him through. I did. And I'll admit it. Because I refused to be placed in prison again.
So, where do we start with this conversation?
I mean, you have to know yourself. You have to know what your boundaries are, what your
Right.
expectations are of you. Where are you willing to compromise?
Compromise. Yeah. So the compromising is within you.
Yes, with you. What are
The
you willing to
expectations
tolerate?
are all within you. So that's why we go back to in a relationship, it's knowing who you are first.
Yeah,
And particularly when setting those boundaries are there to be, not broken. Because if you start breaking your own boundaries, then what hope do you have in setting boundaries with others?
right.
You're just going to be trodden over. And I think too, sometimes we all have that tendency, just going back to what Nina said, where we just close off and shut our
Hmm.
mindset and not want to talk about it anymore. Like you said earlier, Zanetta, it's not often the best way to deal with things because you've never shut it off. Let me tell
Yeah.
you,
You,
even
you
though
don't.
even though you think you're shutting off, or maybe you're stonewalling the other person, so you think you're punishing them by not talking to them, you're actually creating more havoc within yourself.
Within
And why do
yourself.
I say that? Because I've done it. I won't lie. I've experienced all that, and it doesn't get you very far because it's like that saying, Nelson Mandela. It's like um, you know, drinking poison and expecting the other person to actually die or
Hmm. Yeah.
or feel sick. So
Yeah.
that poison is your thoughts. It's all your mindset, all that anger, all that frustration that you're suppressing and putting
Hmm.
a block to. Now, how do you deal with that? Do you explode and tell them? No, well, you pick a time because you're both fired up. That's the wrong time to start talking about things like this. When
Right.
things cool down, you pick your battles wisely, pick your
Hmm.
conversation times wisely.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, when we're calmer, we can always share with that other person, hey, that's how I feel. And I'm not sure whether you're aware of it, but this is what goes on within me when we're in that situation and we're whatever, without pointing fingers, but allowing that person to know this is how I'm feeling.
Hmm.
How do you feel? You want to be curious? Then say, how do you feel? Let that person speak as well. Create that space that that person can then tell you how they feel. And
Yeah.
sometimes what happens, and this is where we have to quieten the ego and swallow that pill. You have to listen to what they've got to say because as they're speaking their truth, we may not like to hear what they're saying. And
Right.
that part hurts. And that's when we start reacting again. But we don't react. We just hear them out, listen, listen to what they're saying, listen to their pain points, and then acknowledge them. And if you need to, I always say, apologize. I'm sorry, I wasn't aware of that. That was not my intention. And
Right.
that,
Right.
believe me, it diffuses a whole lot of stuff. It just
A whole lot of stuff.
Yeah, and it just prevents it. It's not you're not fueling the fire with more log to be more explosive. You're just diffusing. You're like acknowledging. Because really, at the end of the day, we all want to be acknowledged. We all want to be heard. We all want to be loved. We all want to be, you know, important,
Hmm. Yeah.
heard, and that appreciated. So all these things, when you put them all together, it just boils down to love.
Hmm.
That is part of what love is.
Hmm.
That's my take on it. I rest my case. Boom.
I'm gonna buy a gavel.
Okay, yeah, you do
Mhm.
that. Boom. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, the most important thing, the most important conversation or communication, the most important compromise or uh, tolerance the
Mhm.
most important understanding or mm, expectation
Mhm.
is with yourself.
Mhm.
It's the most important one.
Right. And when you can handle yourself, when you really know yourself and what triggers you and what doesn't, and how to, weave yourself in and out and
Mhm.
go, let things go, accept things as they are, and not build a story around it, because that story is something that's connected to that old story back in when you were 5 years old or whenever. Then
Mhm.
that's when you can successfully um, navigate and attract. That's when you start attracting like attracts like. Someone else who's worked on themselves, someone else that's, done the journey, had the pain, is not perfect, because we're not all
No,
perfect, right? But
no,
we're trying.
yeah,
We're trying.
yeah,
And I think that's key.
yeah. Because if I was talking to Jeff one time, and I said, you know what? We're the same. You and I, although we're opposite on certain things. He's a Democrat and I'm a Republican. How does that work in a household? Oh, trust. There's the ability to have the confidence
Mm,
in my belief of party, you
mm,
know, political party. Um, he loves to fly, or he loves to, fly. I love to be in an airplane.
mm.
I hate the takeoff and I hate the landing.
But you love being up
Um, yeah, I'm very artistic. He's very, academic. I like academic. I love academic as well, but I'm more on the artistic side.
there. Mm,
But he's very academic. I mean, he has a brilliant mind. So there are certain things that we are opposite, but there are a lot of things that we are so the same.
mm,
We like warm weather. We can't stand warm weather. We both love to travel. We both, love the same shows, love the same movies, love the same, genre. So we have that. Love the same foods. I love some of the foods that are very exotic, and he calls it nasty.
mm, mm.
Oh, that's just disgusting. That's what he said. That's disgusting. That's gusting. I was like, oh, I said it's delicious. So, but he understands that.
Mm,
There are certain things like he would oftentimes correct me.
mm, mm,
He would say, "You're so used to being by yourself that when you speak singular." And I'm like, "Oh, sorry." I, and sometimes you act like
you're
you're
still
still
single.
single. Yeah, and I
See,
do.
he needs to
I
tell you
do.
that. Mm.
Yeah, I
And
do.
that's
I
important for
still
him. See, that's obviously important for him, that we talk
Yeah,
the we talk, not the I talk. But can
yeah.
I just add to something like that, to
Sure.
what you're
Yeah.
saying, Janetta? And I can understand how you're saying all these similarities and that some opposites, but then similarities. And I also want to pull in what Ugla said. If we can bring up that, I'll bring it up,
Which
that
one?
where he says, my opinion, no, not
Or
that
you
one,
mean
the other one, the other one.
this one?
Yeah. He says, the beauty is in the differences.
Hmm.
The differences must complete each
So,
other's soul. Okay.
hmm
Now, what are these differences? Okay. What are these differences? In my opinion, these differences, hang on, how do I take this off? My differences I mean, my opinion of differences, and we're going to talk energy. You're talking material, physical, tangible things. In my vision and intuitive sight, is the energy that you bring together is a male energy and a female energy. Now, that's his other one.
Yes, I think this is where you're going.
Yeah, opposites passionately, I guess. But what does he say? But it can be a disaster. Right.
No,
So
the one I prefer to be with someone where we complement each other.
exactly. Now,
Mhm,
this complementing of energy, we have a
mhm,
masculine energy and we have a female energy. Now,
mhm.
you can be a man and be carrying this female energy more than a masculine energy, and vice versa, which doesn't mean you're gay, you're a lesbian, or anything like that.
Right.
Okay, let's get this straight here. It's this, it's a bit like my zucchinis.
Mhm,
Where we have the zucchini male flower and the zucchini female flower,
mhm,
and they pollinate. When they pollinate, you get a fruit
mhm, mhm.
because the energy that one brings is nurturing, is
Complementing.
creativity, complementing, feeding that soil
Mhm,
to
mhm.
grow, and that
Yeah.
masculine is in his masculine energy, which rightfully
Right.
so is a male, right?
Mhm.
However, he still needs that female energy to be in his masculine. And the
Mhm.
feminine needs that masculine energy to be in her feminine.
Right.
Now, when you have two energies that are both masculine, what happens?
A sword fight. No.
Possibly a sword fight. Call it whatever you want, an explosion, a atomic bomb. A sword fight.
Okay. A
I
sword
mean,
fight.
a sword
You
fight.
know,
I
there.
like that.
Yeah.
A sword fight. Right? And one's going to be, you know, knived at the end. There's going to be someone that's going to be wounded. And
Right.
even when you're wounded, you're still not accepting defeat.
Mhm.
You won't
Yeah.
accept defeat because
Right.
that's the masculine energy.
Mhm.
And it's not being submissive. Okay. We're not going to into don't
Right.
foresee different things here. It's that nurturing energy that we feed and complement each other, and we dance backwards and forwards, which
Right.
doesn't mean that female doesn't have strength and power, but she's
Right.
in a female energy. She's in that
Mhm.
sweet, nurturing, encouraging, creating, which is the power. Really, when women say it's women power, it's female energy, because it's the creation in us.
Mhm.
And we can either use it in our positive or we can use it in our negative.
Mhm.
So this is I believe, particularly when I see you and Jeff, this is the energy that you both bring to the table.
Mhm.
You bring together. And that's why you feel like he's like the best thing that's ever happened. And for
Right.
him, it's the same thing.
Mhm.
And then all the rest of the things, the communication, the honesty, the openness, they're all other little things that you're just working in. But it works because you're both in that energy and you're complementing each other and you're willing to work it through. There's this energy that just, you just know that you
Mhm.
know.
Yeah.
And when we can realize that, wow, that's amazing. That's when the sex is amazing. And that's when everything's amazing. And we can have we can have talks. We're just talking. It feels like we're having sex. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like it's just
Right.
euphoric in everything that we do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we don't need to go, it just, it's very rare. It is rare, but it does exist. But when we do the work on ourselves, and even we learn about ourselves in our own energy, and what energy are we sitting in,
Mm-hmm.
no right or wrong, it's working with that to our best of ability and attracting that person that isn't an opposite or a like. It's just that energy that just, yeah, interlinks together. I don't know. Does that
Yeah.
make sense? Does that?
Oh yeah, yeah. Let me give it in a a 5-year-old term, because when you get into your genius, you like to use the energy and the yeah. um so I was having a conversation earlier today, and I was talking and explaining, you know is it really balance? Do we need that balance? Is it really balance? But if you take a look at balance, it's the yin, the yang. It's just what it is, the left, the right.
Right.
Um, and we've heard this term before, work life balance. We need that. We need the home and work balance, the home and whatever balance. We always wanted to do the balance. No, that means it's 50-50. Marriage is not 50-50. Marriage is 100-100.
Mm-hmm.
So, how do you get the 100 and the 100 to come together? This is when there's harmony. It's the harmony. It's like you know, the most beautiful time of the day are two, twice. One is at sunrise, and the other is at sunset. Why? Because the moon and the sun are in harmony. That's when you're seeing the collaboration of both coming together and not outshining each other, but showing you the beauty of these two, you know, uh, celestial stars, whatever you want to call it. Let's call it energy again. The- these two, one is feminine, which is the moon. The other is masculine, which is the sun. So the sun goes down, the moon is there, and there's a delicate dance. And when the sun goes down and is covered by the earth, the moon still shines because the sun is still there giving it, letting the moon shine. And the same. It's a delicate dance. It's a beautiful thing. When they collaborate, when there's harmony, it's the most beautiful thing that you can see. Sunrise and sunset.
Beautiful. Oh, I like the way you put that.
Oh, thank you.
That was, I love that analogy. Thank you, Zanetta. It's exactly that. It's exactly that. And, when you're in harmony and peace with yourself, because you're coming to the relationship 100%,
Right.
not only 50%, you're more capable of allowing. There's no competition. So you're
No.
whole within yourself. You don't need to
Right.
compete with the other person.
Right.
But when you are not, whole within yourself, there's that competition. And if the energies are both masculine, you're going to compete. If the energies are both feminine, the energy is going to compete.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. You don't see the moon trying to be the sun.
Yeah,
You don't see the sun trying to be the moon.
correct. They're beautiful and strong and, everything all on their own.
On their own. Yeah.
On their
Yeah.
own.
On their own.
Shining.
Shining bright.
No
Shining like a
competition.
diamond.
Ta-da!
Shine, shine bright like a diamond.
We should have little segments of music that pops up as we
Yeah,
speak.
you know I got to be my goofy self.
Well, this has been a great conversation. We've been going for an hour and nearly 30 minutes here,
Oh my,
right? And we've had
oh
some really
my.
great comments from everybody, which has been great.
Hmm.
I just love the way people chime in and just speak their
Yeah.
truth, right? They just speak
Yes.
their
Yeah.
truth, and it just creates conversation. And again, there's no right or wrong. We're just bringing up points here. You're bringing up your opinions. You're allowed to say
Hmm.
exactly what you feel, and our
Yeah.
opinions are our opinions.
Right. Right. You know, and if you have a picture of a sunrise and a sunset, only those that really pay attention can tell the difference of which one.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I love my sunrises. And Nina says, what does
Hmm.
Nina say? Yes, always.
Y'all always have a have great conversations. Yes. Yes, we try to take a topic that nobody likes to talk about, and then we make it fun and fresh
And
on
fresh.
Fridays.
Saturday here in Australia, but
Oh
yeah,
yes, yes,
it's because we're ahead of time. We're in the future.
yes. You can always tell me how my Saturday is going to look.
Oh, yeah.
How is it
Well,
looking?
I saw the moon last night. It was looking good.
Woohoo!
Actually,
Yay!
yeah, I went for a
Well,
9 o'clock, 9:30 walk in the dark, and it was just so
oh
beautiful. It shone
nice.
brightly. Mm.
Well, you know I'm Cancer, so
Your moony
governed.
moon. You're
I'm
in your
governed by
moon.
the moon.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, what a great conversation. Thank you, Zanetta,
Yeah.
as always,
Thank
bringing up some
you.
great topics. And thank you to everybody listening, chiming in,
Yes, thank
catching on
you.
the replay. Please, hashtag replay. Give us your comments. Tell us what you think. Tell us
Yeah.
what you don't think.
Tell us when you don't agree. Well, I don't agree about it. I
Yeah,
don't agree.
yeah, just tell us. We wanna know. We're not gonna get offended.
No.
It's feedback. It's
Yes.
feedback. And of course, if there are topics that you wanna
Let us know.
discuss, you want us to talk about, let's bring them on.
Yes. Yes, yes.
Bring them
Bring
on.
it.
So, we don't know what we're talking about next week. However, someone did give me a suggestion. Excuse me for a second.
Mhm. Oh, awesome suggestion.
Because they're following us. And they
Oh,
yeah. And they wanna know about our topics beforehand, like on the Friday or the Saturday for us, because they wanna know. So so now you're giving me that look. So what I'm saying is, and you're saying, "Well, they just have to stay tuned," right?
right.
Yeah, that may be the case, but we'll think about it.
Oh, sure. We'll say, well, this is the topic, and then we'll come on. Nope, we're changing
A
it.
minute. Let's do that. I
No,
think that's fun too.
no, because I think the reason why we pick the topic, beforehand. I
Or
mean,
we announce it,
not
maybe.
not beforehand. We don't announce it beforehand. It's because, and the reason why we can, passionately talk about it and be honest is because we're experiencing it.
Mhm.
We've gone through
A
it.
lot of a lot of our things we
Yeah.
are, aren't we? We're actually experiencing it.
Hmm. Yeah.
Oh, Ugla said something. Read it, Zanetta.
Okay. Uh oh.
It's up.
Is it? I can't see it.
Oh,
I think mine just.
pros.
Yeah.
Okay, let me read it. He says, "Trust the love with all your heart. Do not depend on your understanding. Seek His will in all you do, and He will show you which path to take. Thank you. Thank you, Ugla, for sharing that. Zanetta?
I'm here. Yeah, I think mine froze a little bit. I think my thing is going.
Can you read
So
it? Can you read it on the screen as I put it up? Or you can't see that either?
I can't see anything.
Oh, did you hear what I said? He wrote, Amen. Oh, no, Nina said, Amen. Amen. It's so true, which brings it back to coming back to self, coming back to love, because you are love. We're all love. We came from love. Love makes the world go round and around. Zanetta, are you frozen? Because you're not moving. I think she is. She is frozen. Well, anyway, it may be the bad weather that she may be having down in Tennessee. We're going to give it a few moments to see whether she comes back on. But if you have any other comments, anything else, we just want to say thank you to everybody, like Nina, Ugla, and who else has been chiming in? A few other people. Thank you for your comments. And we are going to be back next week. We don't have a topic, but we will certainly let you know what it is. And Zanetta's not back, so I'm going to sign off. And as always, and we do this together, we say, as always, I send you love and I send you passion. Bye for now.
Okay, come on back in. We're live. Come back in. So I was rudely cut off, I believe. Let me see. Yeah, I was just rudely cut off. And I think I'm just waiting for Stefania to come back. Oh gosh, this is so funny. It's amazing. Yeah, we're still live. So as Stefania is coming back, so she can properly say goodbye. Hold on, let me get this right there. Yeah, we just want to, say. Here she
We're back. I just signed off with
Yes.
everyone. I'm not sure if everyone's gone, but are they still there?
Oh my gosh, it's still. I'm just gonna end it. Are you still there? Are you there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you there? Okay, I'm gonna end it because it looks like it's freezing again. So I'm just
That's
gonna
it.
go ahead and yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and end it.
All right.
Until next time,
Bye for now. Sending you lots of love and
and
passion.
passion.
Passion. Bye.
Bye bye. It is not allowing me to. Oh my gosh.
This is what happens behind the scenes
This is
on a show,
just
on a podcast. This is
right.
this is the fun stuff.
This is that's the reason why a lot of people don't go live anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They do recording so that they can cut this stuff.
Out. Zanetta. She's gone again. She is gone again. So if anyone's out there and wants to add to this, please do. But I think I'm going to try and log out again, and hopefully she can turn it off from her end, because this is too funny. Too funny. All right. Bye for now.